In this video, I really want to talk to you about something that I do every time I catch a fish. Now, you can do this whether you fish from a boat or whether you fish from the bank, but I think that it is extremely important, especially if this is a quality fish. This is really, really important to do. Now, before we get into the video, this one's brought to you by Omnia Fishing. Really cool deal over at Omnia right now. If you purchase their Pro subscription, which typically costs $49 for the year and gives you a ton of awesome benefits, you're actually going to get a $50 gift card that you can use in turn to purchase different tackle. So it's kind of like getting the Pro app for free. And the Pro app comes with a ton of awesome features. I mean, 44,000 different lakes across the country. You can get high definition maps for. You can put different layers, wind speed, water temperature, water clarity, all kinds of different things on those maps. You also get 10% back on all of your Omnia purchases and free shipping with no minimum quantity. So the Pro subscription is a really cool deal, and right now it's basically like getting it for free because you're going to get that gift card. But in order to get the gift card, you have to do something specific. You have to click that link down below in the description. You have to use the coupon code BassFishingHQ. Very, very important to do exactly that in order to get the coupon code. So anyways, click that link down below, get your gift card, use that coupon code. It's a great deal. All right, let's talk about something that I do every time that I catch a quality fish. Now, I specifically do this for a lot of quality fish. And like I said, you can do this no matter where you are. It's a little bit easier to do it in a boat. Actually, it's not that much easier to do it in a boat, now that I think about it. But anyways, what I do every time I catch a bass is I make a waypoint. This may sound like a duh moment for a lot of you guys, but I think for a lot of us anglers, and I'll talk about bank anglers specifically in a minute, but for a lot of us boat anglers, if you kind of scan over maybe a piece of structure, maybe it's a long point, and you catch a quality fish off that point, you may not always mark the exact area where you caught that fish, but you remember in your head, man, that point holds quality fish. So then you go back to that point, maybe over the years, you fish it a couple more times, maybe you don't always catch a fish there, but you don't always remember the exact specific spot where you caught that fish. And what I have learned over the years is that bass, especially quality fish, like to have premium habitat, and they like to set up on very specific areas. I'm talking about, think of a giant lake. I'm talking about an area this big that those bass are going to set up. And that is why it is so important that anytime I catch a quality fish, I hit a waypoint and I try to remember the exact line as to where I was casting when I caught that fish, because there are a number of different lakes that I have waypoints at that I can pull up to that waypoint, make that cast. And I'm not saying that this happens every time, but it seems like if I make that exact cast on that waypoint, the odds of me of catching a quality fish go up drastically. And so I'll give you a perfect example of this. One of my favorite lakes here locally, the way that you catch a lot of fish out there, there's a lot of like foundations underwater, there's a lot of rock structure underwater, and a lot of smallmouth get in these little areas. Now, you can go onto some of these rock structures and you will catch, 1 pounder after 1 pounder, which is not really a quality fish there. But there are areas on this lake, where you will catch a 3 to 4 pounder. And what I have found over the years is that every time I catch a quality fish, 3 to 4 pounds, I hit that waypoint. If I come back to that exact area on my boat, literally put my boat on that waypoint, hit my spot lock on my trolling motor, make that exact same cast, the odds of me of catching a quality fish in those areas on that cast are like drastic. Like there are places out there where I call it like a 3 pound waypoint. Like if I catch a fish there, it's going to be 3 pounds. And a 3 pounder is a big fish for the lake that I'm talking about. It just kind of depends on where you are in the country. Some of you might be a 7 pounder, or it might be a 10 pounder, whatever it may be. But on this lake, a 3 pounder is a big one. And I know that if I catch a fish on that cast, it is going to be a quality fish. And the reason, kind of like I talked about, these quality fish, big fish, get in really specific zones. Like I said, these fish might be on this foundation all over the place, but there might be an area where there's just a little bit bigger rock. And although you may be able to see it with side imaging, sometimes it just kind of, you know, gets intermixed with all the other structure that is in the area. But a big fish will set up in a specific zone because it might be a perfect little current break that we don't really know about. Maybe it's a place where there's, I don't know, a crawfish hole, or there's always food for a bass. I don't know what it is about this really specific spot, but I know that if I make a waypoint, if I make that same cast, if I get bit, it's going to be a quality fish. And I've seen this in a number of different areas across the country. There's literally areas that, for example, this year, I marked a couple of spots on a lake down in Tennessee. I went back to that exact same spot during the exact same time of the year, went to that exact same waypoint, and within like 2 casts, caught a quality, a better than average fish. And I hadn't been to that lake in like 6 years. So I think that this is one of the most important things that we can do as an angler. Make sure you know that exact same spot. Now, bank anglers, I want to talk specifically to you for a second, because this is something that you can do as well. You obviously aren't going to have, you know, electronics on the bank. I don't think so. I mean, but what you do have is your phone. There's a number of ways that you can make a waypoint with your phone. You know, like I said, through the Omnia app, you can literally, like where you're standing, make a waypoint. The other thing that you can do is simply remember. Like, it's not that difficult to just remember exactly where you were standing when you caught a quality fish and exactly which way that you were casting. Because I'm telling you, even in ponds, or no matter what type of body of water you're fishing, because you may be fishing behind a dam, you may be fishing a river, a creek, you may be even fishing a big lake, and you've caught a big fish on this one cast. I'm telling you that there is a reason why that quality fish was there. So at least the least thing that you can do is just remember, this is exactly where I was standing. Like, my feet were right here when I caught a fish. Now, from a boat, it's easy for me to hit a way, like as I'm reeling in a quality fish, I usually hit a waypoint. That is what it's in my brain. I do it every single time that I catch a quality fish on a new body of water. If you're fishing from the bank, what you can do is kind of just look down when you're catching that fish, kind of look as to where you were standing, go land that fish, and then after you land that fish, maybe take your photo, whatever it is, release that fish, go back to that exact same area and either, again, visibly remember it, take a picture of it, or use that Omni app and create a waypoint. And you can also kind of customize what time of the year it was. Actually, Omnia waypoint features do all that for you. So anyways, guys, I think that that's really, really important, because bass get on a specific spot, a specific angle, a specific cast, and it can help you for years to come. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.